A freshman from Cincinnati, Ohio, Alina Miller. A sophomore from Marietta, California, Jasmine Gutierrez. A senior from Las Vegas, Nevada, Morgan Hart. A freshman from Daly City, California, Juliet Boyer. A sophomore from Gilbert, Arizona, Megan Thompson. A senior from Chandler, Arizona, Jessica Kinn. A freshman from Barrie, Ontario, Canada, Hannah Sharp. A junior from Oakland, California, Cairo Leonard Baker. A senior from Gilbert, Arizona, Gracie Zog. A freshman from Shelby Township, Michigan, Isabel Redmond. A freshman from Phoenix, Arizona, Gracie Reeves. A redshirt senior from Lee Summit, Montana, Morgan Wilson. And please welcome Arizona State. The Sun Devils are led by head coach Jenny Santos, associate head coach Jessica Santos, and assistant coach Christina Pugh.
On a Friday night, we welcome you to the greatest venue in all of collegiate gymnastics, the John M. Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City. A crowd of over 15,000 flowing in once again for the Pac-12 Conference opener. Number 5 Utah against the Arizona State Sun Devils. Good evening, I'm Mike Lagashow with not one but two Utah legends tonight. Kendall Robarts-Pond, a former All-American, and former head coach and three-time national champion Megan Marsden for this Pac-12 opener. And Megan, I'll start with you for this Utah team. Pretty good start to the season. They won 197 in their last meet at the Rio Tinto Best of Utah Challenge. What can we expect for Utah this evening?
Well, I know that they're looking to do even better than that. They have lofty goals for this season, and it's going to take more than just a 197. So I expect them to be shooting on each event for around a 49.3 or maybe a little better, and that could put them up in the mid-197 range.
All right, and Kendall Robarts-Pond, the ASU Sun Devils, in their fourth year under Jay Santos. They've made regionals the last 2 years. Kyra Leonard-Baker, their all-rounder, not going all-around tonight, had an ankle injury in week 1, but what do you expect out of the Sun Devils here tonight?
Yeah, they've slowly built every week, and I think they're hoping to do that again tonight. They're going to focus on themselves and make sure that they're paying attention to their gymnastics, and hopefully can tune out a little bit of the 15,000 fans that they're dealing with and do a great job.
All right, should be a fun night for women's gymnastics. It's Pac-12 Conference opening time here in Salt Lake City. Number 5 Utah. ASU coming up next. Set to go with our Pac-12 Conference opener, number 5 Utah against the Arizona State Sun Devils. Mike Lagashow, Kendall Robarts-Pond, Megan Marsden with you tonight for what should be a fun night of gymnastics. Our meet being brought to you by Smith's, low prices, market fresh, Smith's. And tonight's meet also being brought to you by America First Credit Union, proud supporter of the Red Rocks, and proud to be Utah's #1 credit union. For more than 80 years, America First helped its members make their financial dreams come true. Join today at AmericaFirst.com. Utah comes in 4-0, ranked 5th in the country. They had their highest score through 2 meets at the Rio Tinto Best of Utah Challenge 2 weeks ago with a 197 even. And they are the 3rd team in the country to reach that 197 mark. Arizona State comes in with a 3-2 record. They had a score of 195.250 last week in a win against UC Davis. Their 2 losses, by the way, have come to teams ranked in the top 25 preseason, number 7 Denver and also top-ranked Oklahoma. So even though Jay Santos, ladies, wasn't overly thrilled with how his teams performed with the injuries and just finding a rhythm, they've had pretty good season all in all as they come in here 3-2. So quick keys for both of you for this meet as we get going. Utah first, Arn Vault and bars for ASU. Kendall, I'll start with you. Some things to look for as we watch this unfold here tonight.
Yeah, for ASU, you can look for a lot of freshmen stepping up. They have Morgan Wilson is one of their 5th-year seniors, and she'll be competing on 3 events tonight, so look out for her.
And Megan, for the Utes.
Well, I think, what you want to do is start out with the first performer doing a great job, and that gets things rolling. I know as a coach, you're always hopeful you can build from the first athlete through the lineup.
All right, Utah on vault. Sydney Solowski will start things off, followed by Cammie Hall, Missy Reinstadler, Miley O'Keefe, Alexia Birch, and Kim Tesson. ASU is over on bars. Morgan Hart, Hannah Scarf, Morgan Wilson for them, and here's Sydney Solowski.
And Sydney does a big Yurchenko full and a little step back on the landing, but a great vault.
Saw her first collegiate vault at the meet against number 12 Kentucky back here on January 3rd. She had a 9.825 at the Best of Utah meet, also a 9.8 against Kentucky. So Solowski first to perform for the Utes tonight. How's that going to score?
Well, I mean, the step will cost you quite a bit just because they're looking for a landing that's very clean. She had a little bit of a pike down and then that small step. So, I mean, I know that she's had a chance to stick a vault already this season. I'm sure that's what she was hoping for. But maybe these next performers now can build off of that.
All right, Morgan Hart on the bars first for the Sun Devils. Senior from Las Vegas, has not competed on bars so far this year. Career best score at 9.9.
Yeah, she's had some trouble so far in this routine. Her release, she was a little close, which caused her to take an extra swing, but she continued and is able to pull it out without a fall.
All right, I think that extra swing will cost her about 0.3 of a point. So probably not a huge score, but good for her for continuing the routine all the way to the dismount without a fall.
Knows that heavy brace on the left knee that she's competing with. So again, Morgan Hart had not competed bars this year. senior from Las Vegas, just getting her season underway. Back over to vault for Utah. Second up is Cammie Hall. Sophomore from Gainesville, Virginia. Career best score 9.875 at the Best of Utah meet.
And Cammie has a Yurchenko 1.5, which is one of the vaults that starts from a 10. Pretty big step on the landing, but since it starts from a 10, that helps her out a little bit. Big vault, though.
Yes, I'm waiting to see Cammie have a breakout vault where she actually finds that landing. But with a 1.5 as a coach, you like to see the step forward as opposed to coming in short. That's where you can have some trouble with possibly an injury. And so you're trained to teach that 1.5 to a step forward. And Cammie's been doing that very well. It may take another meet or two before she can really find a stick.
Yeah, Cammie Hall had that injury, the Achilles tear, and that forced her to miss last year. Just coming back from that, so
it's so exciting to have her back out there, and I know she's had to wait a long time, and as a freshman it's always difficult to have an injury that takes you out for the whole season. So I'm really, it's been fun to watch her in this whole process, and I think she's grown a lot from it, matured.
All right, so two competitors done for the Utes over on vault.
All right, and our scores so far, do we have some scores
we do.
Coming up?
Sydney Solosky first scores up a 9.75 for her. Nothing yet for Morgan Hart over on bars, and maybe a little bit of a delay, it appears. Let's see if they can get that score posted for Morgan Hart. Our second competitor, Hannah Scharf for ASU, freshman from Ontario, Canada. And last week she scored a 9.125, her season high at 9.5 on bars for Scharf.
She starts off with the Saposh and is not quite far enough and misses the bar. She has to go and chalk up before she can mount the bar again.
So rough start here for the Sun Devils. A 9.35 is all for Morgan Hart, their first up, and now a fall for Hannah Scharf.
Right, I have a feeling the judges, one of the delays was that they needed to talk a little bit about what they were going to do with that extra swing, and if they both were in agreement on how much to deduct for that. Sometimes those kinds of issues are not as cut and dried, and it takes a minute for the judges to converse about it.
So she gets back up and repeats that release move. She wanted to get the bonus for that, and to do that she needed to repeat it, and did it pretty well. Managed to make it back down to the low bar with no problems, and goes on her on the high bar. She cast it over, so she's having to reset a little bit here too.
And that's too bad. It looked like she was really getting back in her rhythm and had some nice work until that handstand went over.
Yeah, and that's one of the dangers of trying to hit that handstand. You want to hit that handstand because if you don't, it's a deduction, but it's a little bit of a risk. You can always go over, and so that's why it's harder to do than it probably looks.
Yes.
So Scharf, the second up for ASU. Again, they'll have to count that 9.35 by Morgan Hart, who started things. Two scores posted for the Utes. Solosky at 9.75, Cammie Hall at 9.725. Here's Missy Reinstatler.
And Missy has such a beautiful vault. It's a big Yurchenko full, but she's overdoes it just a little bit and has to take a pretty big step back.
I know I saw her in warm-up stick a couple different nice vaults, and she just, when she gets in the meet, it looks like she was just a little amped up and overdid it for a pretty, large step back, which will be a little lower score for that.
Yeah, it's probably one of her only deductions since her form is so perfect.
It is, yes.
But it'll still be a big one.
Definitely a senior leading this group, and nice to see her healthy and out there.
Yeah, I talked to Missy at practice this week. She felt the surgery on her foot over the summer went well. She's feeling good. She said, mainly I'm just trying to pace myself at this point. I want to go all around at some point, but I know I want to be there in April. I'm also concerned about January, so she's kind of pacing herself, but overall feels pretty good about how her body feels, and was happy with the surgery. So Missy Reinstatler, her career best score, a 9.875 on vault. That was back in 18 last year, limited just to bars because of that foot injury.
Right. Well, and I think Missy's smart in trying to be patient, because she has a body that has not held up to this sport very well in her later years, and with postseason being the most important part, you do want to have your best work ready then. And if her body's not going to be able to take all of the difficult, hard landings out on the competitive floor, she wants to save some of those for when it really matters.
All right, the score is up for Missy Reinstatler, a 9-7 as the third competitor on vault for the Utes. That's a team low score. Still waiting a score for Hannah Sharp. Morgan Wilson now third up for ASU over on bars.
And she sets up. She does a blind change. Jaeger catches it nicely. Handstand on the high bar, maybe a tad short into a shoot over. She looks like she's finding that rhythm that ASU is looking for.
How
Nice
tough is it
handstand.
after a couple missed performances to get up there as your third performer and nail one?
Yeah, it's really nerve-wracking. I think you know that it actually really matters. You've already had this low score that you want to drop, and you know your score needs to count.
Yeah, she looked very comfortable on bars with nice swing, and I thought decent form throughout. And just her one mistake was the dismount where she kind of pulled in a little close to the high bar on her double tuck.
Back over to the vault, Miley O'Keefe.
Yeah, they're just flying high tonight. So, a big vault, but another step back, which is a deduction. But still, it's better than the opposite. It's good to see that they have a lot of energy and a lot of amplitude off the horse, which is what you want.
And that is true. As coaches, we always encourage them to go for the big vault and then worry about the landing as you come to that point. Because if you're trying to stick from the beginning of the vault, many times you leave it short and it doesn't go well. So it needs to be a big vault off the horse. And yes, I agree, there's been a lot of good amplitude for Utah tonight.
So Miley O'Keefe, the freshman from Las Vegas, scoring a 9.775 on vault in the first two meets this year. She went all around for the first time at the Rio Tinto Best of Utah Challenge. Had a little bit of a rough start on vault and bars, but was better on beam and floor for the Utes. So she's going all around once again for the Utes tonight. So three scores up for the Utes on vault. Missy Reinstatler a 9.7. That's the low score. Sydney Solosky a 9.75. Cammie Hall the 9.725. The score's up now for Hannah Sharp for ASU an 8.375. We knew it would be low. That means ASU counts the 9.35 from their leadoff performer, Morgan Hart. Morgan Wilson's score has yet to post, and Juliet Boyer now ready to go for the Sun Devils.
Yeah, you see ASU over there. They're trying to stay loose. They're dancing. When you have a few errors, especially in the start, it can really put a negative spin on how you're thinking of the meet, and it looks like they're trying to do a really good job of loosening up and stay within themselves, which was their goal.
We saw some delays in judging over on bars. Our first meet, we thought, well, it's the first meet of the year. Some new scoring rules in place, but obviously tonight, some things to really look at for these judges to make sure they're getting the scoring right with some miscues on our first couple of performers. So no score yet for Wilson. Let's go watch Juliet Boyer, freshman all-arounder from Daly City, California.
A really nice Apache, big swing. Big pack salto, really clean so far.
She has beautiful toe point.
Yes, she does. This seems like a move in the right direction for them. She sets up for her dismount. A full in. Oh, and just is a little short. She released the bar a little early, wasn't able to pull it all the way around, and fell forward.
Fell forward onto her knees, which will count as a 5/10 fall.
So Juliet Boyer last week, a season-high 9.875. She also went 9.825 against number 1 Oklahoma a few weeks back for the Sun Devils. So two more still to go for ASU. Back over to vault for Alexia Birch.
Alexia has a big 1.5 stud.
Nice.
Oh, that's the landing we were looking for.
Yes, yes.
Big 1.5. It was far away from the horse, so she got a lot of distance and just nailed it.
At the Best of Utah, Lexi was able to get that 1.5 to her feet and stepped back a little bit, and I felt like that would build her confidence. And sure enough, this week she took it to the ultimate, sticking a big 1.5 for the team.
Big
Yeah.
smiles from Alexia
Yep.
Birch. She loved that one. Had a 9.8, Megan, as you referred to at that Best of Utah meet.
Yes, and it's a little hard for me sitting here because it's so soon since I've been done, and I've worked with Lexi, and so that gave me goosebumps because I know how hard she's worked to get that big score, 9.95.
Good for her.
How about that? That is a career high score. Her previous best at 9.9 against Arizona last year. So Utah gets his biggest score of the night. Miley O'Keefe went 9-8, by the way, so Utah building scores. These final three performers. Kim Tesson, who's been a 9-9 machine to start this season, is the final one to go for the Utes. Back over to bars now. Gracie Reeves for ASU.
Yeah, she mounts in between the bars and goes straight to the high bar. So blind change, Jaeger, nice, high flying. She does a toe hand. Shoot over, a little feet separation, but not a huge deduction as she moves to the high bar. Handstand on the high bar. She taps into her dismount. Double A.
And
stuck.
There's a hit routine.
Yeah, they needed that.
All right.
Well, Gracie Reeves, a 9.775 in all three meets so far this year on bars for ASU. She'll get a good score after that routine tonight. The best of the night right there for ASU. By the way, the score for Juliet Boyer, a 9.175. So the highest score right now for the Sun Devils, a 9.625 by Morgan Wilson. They've got a sub-9 score on the board, so kind of a rough start for ASU, but they've recovered here. Here goes Kim Tesson on vault for Utah.
And Kim has another 1.5 stuck. Oh,
nice.
The last two were awesome vaults. The crowd is going crazy.
I think both teams are beginning to get a little more comfortable and really go for it. The crowd's loving it.
They sure are. Kim Tesson, the senior from Orem, Utah.
That was beautiful. Her body in the air was perfect.
One thing that can help is the fact that Alexia hit her 1.5, which can set up that next 1.5, and Kim took advantage of the situation. Yes, and I mean, there's a good chance that the score will go up because they saw a 9.95, and now they just saw another beautiful 1.5. There's a chance for even a better score.
So
or
Kim
at least
Tesson,
equal.
Yeah.
Let's see what they think. Well,
9.95's her career best. That came back in 2018 when she was second team all Pac-12 on vault. At a 9.85 last week.
It looks like it's going to be a 9.925.
Yep,
so
just a bit below
my
Lexi
theory
Birch.
didn't work.
I thought you were right on, Megan.
I did as well. I liked where you were going there, but still two excellent
She did.
vaults.
She did her job. Kim took advantage of the situation. The judges just didn't see it that way, but there's a variety of things they're looking for.
Kyra Leonard Baker, all-arounder who qualified for nationals in recent years for ASU, been slowed by an ankle injury that happened during their first meet of the season, so they have not sent her all-around quite yet, but this is a big-time gymnast for ASU.
Yeah, and I think that was an important routine. That's senior leadership right there, being able to come back after a tougher event for them and hit a routine, and she looked like she knew she was going to hit it the whole time. She does a lot of connected.
Confidence. Right, and the routine before that was hit as well. So their last two routines started to come around and show some leadership.
Absolutely.
So Kyra Leonard Baker qualified for nationals on bars last year. She won the Baton Rouge Regional. Kendall, you and I were there for that one as the Utes were also in town for that regional meet. She won that title with a 9.925. last year at LSU, second team All-American with a 9.9 in NCAA's last season. So she's going just vault and bars tonight.
But, you know, athletes like that in the ASU program are what are going to help Jess and Jay bring this program up to the next level. And I know some of their freshmen are really doing quite a bit for them already. And so I think the future's bright for this team. I know they didn't start out the way they wanted with their first several bar routines, but the night is young, and hopefully they can continue to keep some composure and build off those last couple of bar routines.
All right, exhibition now. Isabel Redman, a freshman from Shelby Township, Michigan, performing on bars for ASU. Her season high, 9.75. She's done that twice already this season.
Yeah, this has been a really nice routine so far.
Those coaches are going to wish they could trade that one out.
Yep.
That was beautiful.
Sometimes you don't guess right on the lineup. You never know.
Unfortunately,
She had a beautiful ginger.
She's definitely making a case for her chance in the lineup, though, and that's what you use the exhibition for, is to allow athletes to get out there and show you what they've got under the competition pressure. And if they handle it and if the judges give them a decent score, a lot of times that's what a coach needs to know to begin to adjust lineups. This part of the season, you're kind of jockeying your lineups a lot.
Yeah, and what somebody does in the gym is always a little bit different than what they do on the competition floor. Some people handle that pressure and use it to do even better, and some people it just takes a little while to get used to, but
that is very true, Kendall. And I was one of those athletes that my best work was always done in the gym, and I had to work very hard on the sports psych part of it so I could begin to emerge on the competitive floor and not let my nerves get the best of me.
All right, a rough start for ASU, a 47.775 on bars. Utah goes 49-150 on vault. Our first rotation is behind us. We'll come back with a recap of our first rotation, look ahead to our second one in just a moment. This is Red Rocks Gymnastics from Learfield, IMG College.
My name is Abby Paulson. I'm a freshman and I'm from Anoka, Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Adrienne Randall, and I'm a sophomore from Corona, California.
My name is Alexia Birch. I am a junior from Sparks, Nevada.
From our first rotations, they go 49-150. Sydney Solowski, a 9.75. Cammie Hall, a 9.725. Missy Reinstatler will drop her score of a 9.7. Miley O'Keefe, a 9.8. Then a great 1-2 punch at the end. 9.95 career high for Alexia Birch. And then Kim Teston, a 9.925. So that 9.95 by Alexia vaulted her over the competition. Brought to you by the David Eccles School of Business. Springboard your career at eccles.utah.edu. Let's run down the scoring for ASU on their first event over on bars tonight. Kyra Leonard Baker, a 9.825. That was her best score. Gracie Reeves, a 9.8. Morgan Wilson, 9.625. Morgan Hart, a 9.35. A 9.175 for Juliet Boyer, and then they'll drop the 8.375 by Hannah Scharf. And Megan and Kendall, your impressions of our first rotation tonight?
Well, I think both teams, at the level that each of them are at, I think that they would have liked to have started stronger. I know that Utah had over a 49, but like I said, if they really want to continue to improve their score, they need the 49.3 or better. And with the last two Yuchenko 1.5 sticking, I'm sure they're feeling like they lost out on kind of a missed opportunity. If a couple of those earlier vaults had stuck, it would have been the score we were looking for.
yeah, and I think both teams maybe started off with a little bit of jitters and then were able to use that energy and pull it back in, especially Utah with those big stuck vaults, and then ASU with the senior leadership coming at the end and putting some hit routines into that lineup.
Well, Utah scored a 49-175 on vault at the Rio Tinto Best of Utah Challenge. They went 49-150 tonight. Meg, you thought 49-2-5 was kind of what you're shooting for to get the score you're looking for. Utah a bit off pace, but still not a bad start for Utah on vault tonight.
I know that Utah has, I feel like bars and beam ultimately could be their best events this year. And so if they can go even above that, on these two events possibly, there's still a chance for the night to be a positive one in terms of an improved score.
Yeah, Utah ranked 10th in the country on bars, 6th on beam, 7th on floor. Their best event in terms of scoring so far this year has been vault, as they are ranked 5th in the country on that event. But their scores have definitely been higher on bars, beam, and floor, their final three events. So we're about ready to go with our second rotation. Mike Lagashow, Kendall Robarts Pond, Megan Martin with you from the Hussman Center. Great crowd on hand tonight. I'm told over 15,000 tickets sold, so it should be a great count here tonight for this Pac-12 conference opener. Rotation number 2, Utah to bars, ASU over to the vault. And we're ready to go. Jessica Ginn for the Sun Devils.
And here she goes. She does a Yurchenko full, a step on the landing, but a pretty good vault. Good start.
I really liked her amplitude. She popped that up off the horse very nicely and broke out with her arms a little bit. It didn't give her the stick, but
the opportunity's there.
Yes, yes. As she breaks out with those arms, that's what you need to do to begin to negotiate that absolute lawn dart perfect stick position.
Jessica, a career high score of 9-9 against number 1 Oklahoma. A few weeks back, she's been 9-8, 2-5 or better all 3 times on vault so far this season. Let's go back over to bars now for the Utes. Emily LeBlanc will get things started for Utah.
I really like how Emily takes her time and she goes when she's ready. That's part of that mental aspect of being prepared.
Yes.
Emily LeBlanc, a season-high 9-8 at the Best of Utah meet. Also had a 9.775 here in the opener against Kentucky.
Nice routine so far. Big Jaeger shoot over and a huge handstand. Just nailed it. Maybe a little close on that first release move, but other than that, it was great. Stuck double A dismount.
Love watching her lines at 5'6", and Tom Farden said, I could have signed a freshman to round out this group when Michaela Skinner left the train with the national team, but he said, I wanted some experience. I wanted to get someone, junior.
Yes, and
on
Emily
up.
has that. I mean, she is a junior, and she did do quite a bit of competing before she got here, and you can see it by the way she approaches the event, and each week she has improved to the point now that she's stuck that dismount. That should be, her best routine to date.
All right, Juliet Boyer now on vault for ASU.
Yurchenko full and takes another step back on the landing. Gets a lot of distance away from the vault, which is a good thing.
Boyer going all around tonight for Arizona State. In fact, she's one of 3 all-arounders for the Sun Devils this evening. Jay Santos saying they've had some injuries, some upperclassmen not quite ready to go at this point, so he's taking some younger people and having them go 4 events at this point in the season. But Juliet Boyer going second tonight for ASU had a score of 9.875, a season high last week, and the win over UC Davis. First score is up, a 9.7 for Jessica Ginn. To start things for the Sun Devils, a 9.85 is the score for LeBlanc over on bars for Utah.
I don't know if that's the ultimate score. I think
Okay.
I can't tell.
Yeah, there seemed to be some confusion there.
Yeah, I think one judge had something quite a bit lower, and so they're talking. There's new rules in place this year, and I do think the judges are still getting used to those. The athletes have been working with the new rules and training for quite some time.
Now I'm seeing 9.8 being posted, so.
Right. I was hoping for a little better because I think she deserved that.
That first spot can be hard, I think.
It can. First up, a lot of times the judges like to start the score at a certain place, no matter what you do.
Yes, that is true.
But the good news is they have the opportunity to build from that 9.8, and we'll see how that goes.
So a 9.8 and a 9.85, they average that to a 9.825.
Oh, there we go.
Right
That's
in the middle.
better.
Yeah.
That's about what we thought it would be for Emily LeBlanc. That's the first score on the board for the Utes. Here's Crystal Isa, their second performer tonight.
Nailed her high bar handstand into her big Tkachev. Really nice so far. She does a straight body handstand, which is harder in my opinion, but definitely more beautiful. Nice release move to the low bar. Another beautiful handstand. She's just hitting those right on. Blindfold, double A. Such a hard combination that she's stuck and then maybe got a little excited and took a step back.
And that's Crystal. She is just a bundle of joy all the time. That dismount, I mean, you can't underrate that. I mean, a giant full right into a double layout. Most athletes build with 2 giant circles in order to get the momentum, and she does it right out of kind of a stationary position. And the judges like to see that. It's an unusual bar routine, and with the straight body handstands, it's something special.
All right, Hannah Scharf now for ASU back over on vault.
Another Yurchenko full stuck.
There we go. That was a really nice vault. Her hips stayed open as she came into the mat, and she also used the breakout of the arms. About the only deduction I was seeing was a little bit of bent arms on the horse. We call that kind of crunching on the horse, but she really came out of that position with a nice vault.
Yeah, they're building through this event.
Much better event in rotation 2 for Arizona State. Talking about Crystal Isa, she scored a 9.925 last year before the injury set in, Megan, unfortunately at ASU.
Yes.
And now ready for our third Utah performer, Hunter Dula, a bar specialist, ready to go for the Utes.
Yeah, I think one thing Utah does really well on bars is they have awesome lines, and Hunter is one of those gymnasts that has it.
Yeah, just naturally, that body of hers kind of lines up into a perfect handstand.
Yeah, and that Jaeger is far away from the bar, but caught with straight arms, which is textbook what you want.
Yes.
Hunter a 9.825 at the Best of Utah meet. Season high 9.875 against Kentucky. She went as high as 9.9 last year at the Pac-12 Championships.
Another stuck dismount, double A. Really nice job.
Nice routine. I think I just saw early in the routine a little bit, one short handstand, and then she started to roll at that point on. That should, well, and Crystal Issa, it looks like she ended up with a 9.925
yes.
to equal one of her best scores. So I don't know if Tom's going to be able to leave Crystal in the second up spot for long if she's going to do that. That's worthy of late in the lineup.
Sure is.
But it's certainly going to be helpful that little Hunter came and stuck her routine right after her. That can only help.
Back over to vault, Gracie Reeves for ASU.
Yurchenko full, a little bit of a feet separation when she hit the horse and just a slight movement on the landing.
Yeah, I thought that one too stayed a little closer to the horse. It didn't have quite the height and distance that the one before did.
Well, a good start for the freshman from Phoenix, a 9.8 against Oklahoma, then scored a 9.625 last week against UC Davis. So we'll see how Gracie Reeves scores tonight. Their best score so far, a 9.8 by their previous competitor, Hannah Scharf. Utah, as you mentioned, that 9.925 by Crystal Issa. Emily LeBlanc, a 9.825 to start things. Hunter Dula's score yet the post. Here's Miley O'Keefe, the fourth competitor on bars for Utah.
I am waiting for Miley to have a breakout routine. She's been doing a nice job for Utah as a freshman, but she is world class and world class on this event. Well, let's see how she covers right here. She had a little trouble with that low bar handstand. Last week it kind of did her in, and today she handled it actually pretty well.
She did.
Didn't break form and get that dismount.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
She does an awesome double Arabian dismount. It's unique. It's really difficult landing, flipping forward.
Blind, yes.
And she stuck it.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. I mean, she ended up having a pirouette, 1.5 pirouette
which
on
is
the low
hard.
bar. But she didn't mean to do that, but that's what she ended up having to do.
And maybe a little bit of deduction in there, but
yeah,
she's
we'll
pretty
see.
clean.
I mean, the judges know that that's not what she
Absolutely.
intended. They see the warm-up, but she didn't break form. She kept it going. There was no extra swing.
Here's
and then
Cairo
finish
Leonard.
nice.
Yeah. Cairo Leonard Baker here.
Oh, awesome. Yurchenko full, stuck, big, beautiful, really nice vault.
Both teams are starting to really hit their stride.
So Cairo Leonard Baker, that's her final event tonight, going just vaults and bars. Junior from Oakland, California, had a 9.9 to place fourth at the Pac-12 Championships in 2018. Last week a 9.775. That was her first vault of the season a week ago. So Cairo just kind of getting back into form after that ankle injury in week one. Checking the scores, Gracie Reeves a 9.7. We just saw Miley O'Keefe go, score not up. Here's Missy Reinstadler, second to last for Utah over on bars.
Missy has a big Jaeger, maybe a little close to the bar, so slightly bent arms, but not a big deduction. Shoot over and just doesn't make it quite over, so she has to cover and does a switch kip on the bottom of the bar and hits her feet, which will be
3/10, I think, and they'll have to determine how much weight she had on her feet.
Missy
she's up
Reinstadler,
nicely, but
unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Missy just, she looked like she was warming up really well tonight, and now in the competition, I don't see her handling the nerves that well, having some trouble. Uncharacteristic mistakes, not something she would ever do.
So Missy can go big, had a 9.95 against ASU on bars last year. Will not get that score tonight. Back over to vault. And their final competitor, Morgan Wilson for the Sun Devils.
and she does another Yurchenko full. Doesn't get as much amplitude off the table, takes a step forward, isn't very far away from the horse.
Yeah, the judges could hit that pretty hard for several different things. A little pike down, and then she did a little hop and a step. Probably would have been better to just do a bigger step than to do both of those things.
Morgan Wilson going 3 events tonight, a redshirt senior from Lee Summit, Missouri. Her best score on vault, a 9.9. Had a 9.8 at the Collegiate Challenge in week 1 for ASU. And back over to bars for the Utes. Kim Tesson, the final performer tonight for the Red Rocks. Kim Tesson, by the way, named the Pac-12 Specialist of the Week after winning bars and floor at the Best of Utah meet.
Kim has really nice handstands. A pike Jaeger, is able to catch that, and it looked really easy for her. I know she had a little trouble in the warm-ups just now, but is nailing it. Shoot over straight to handstand. She's been holding her handstands every meet, and tonight's no exception. She hits that high bar handstand as well. She taps into her full and dismount. A little shuffle on the landing, but a great bar routine.
Should be another big score for Kim. Had a 9.95 here against number 12 Kentucky in the opener to win the event that night. Also won the event at the Rio Tinto Best of Utah Challenge with a 9.95.
That was a nice comeback by Kim after having, a teammate and a senior, senior leader have trouble, and then Kim picked up the slack, which was great, and that's what Missy needed from her teammate on this night.
So Missy Reinstadler scoring a 9.425. The Utes can drop that score. Exhibition now for the Sun Devils. Isabel Redmond over on vault.
Yurchenko full, stuck it.
Yeah, nice fault, nice fault. One thing when an athlete like Missy, is struggling a little bit, didn't do her vault the way she had hoped and then had trouble on her bar routine. As a coach, a lot of times you're thinking right now, how am I going to help get her back on track mentally? And she still is, I think, scheduled to be involved in beam at least. And you want to make sure that she can make a turnaround within the night. You don't want her to let it all just slide out of control. You also want to know what you can do this next week coming up to build her confidence back up.
And back over to bars for the Utes. First look at Jill Hoffman in competition. This won't count, but coming back from a foot injury during the break between the New Year and the Christmas holiday.
Yes, they're glad to have her back, and they're going to ease her back in. Let's see if she can get this double layout dismount. I know she was having a little trouble in warm-ups, but good for her.
Yeah, she peeled and let go a little early, but was able to stick it.
Find the landing.
Yep.
I know that the coaching staff has really high hopes for Jillian, even in the all-around ultimately, but this ankle foot sprain that she had has set her just behind a little bit.
Almost ran out of mat on that landing, but good to see the distance from the bar there for Jill Hoffman. They're excited about her potential, and that will do it for our second rotation. So Utah on bar scores a 49.275. Their team score now 98.425. The Sun Devils go 48.75 over on vault. Their team score now 96.525. So Utah a comfortable lead as we head to our third rotation. Back with more in just a moment. This is Red Rocks Gymnastics from Learfield, IMG College.
My name is Jillian Hoffman. I am a freshman, and I'm from Temecula, California.
Back at the Huntsman Center, 2 rotations down in this Pac-12 Conference opener. Number 5 Utah against Arizona State. Utah at 98.425. The Sun Devils at 96.525. Let's run down the scores for the Utes in our second rotation. Missy Reinstadler, the lowest score on bars, 9.425. They will drop that. Miley O'Keefe, a 9.775. Kim Tesson, 9.825. Emily LeBlanc, also a 9.825. And then 2 9.9 plus scores. In fact, 2 9.925s from Crystal Issa and Hunter Dula. And those 2 scores raise the bar for the Red Rocks on Uneven Bars tonight. And it's brought to you by the David Eccles School of Business. Raise the bar on your career at eccles.utah.edu. Over to vault for ASU, and after a rough start on bars, much better over on vault for them. Hannah Sharp, a 9.8. Morgan Wilson, a 9.65. That's their low score over there. Juliet Boyer, 9.725. Gracie Reeves, 9.7. Cairo Leonard Baker, the two-time All-American, had their best score of 9.825, and Jessica Ginn a 9.7. So again, our team scoring after 2 events, 9.8.425 for Utah, 9.6.525 for ASU. Kendall, I'll start with you. Your impressions of our first 2 rotations tonight.
Yeah, I think for ASU, bars started off a little rough, but they were able to come back at the end and put some solid routines out there, and then they carried that over to vault. I think the Huntsman Center can be a tough place to compete, especially for a really young team that's pretty inexperienced, but they seem to be figuring it out as they go, and I bet we can see even more on floor and beam.
Megan, your thoughts on the Utes so far?
Well, I think Utah really had a really nice bar rotation. I think the only disappointment was Missy Reinstedler, who usually can give them a gigantic score. So that's, you know, one of those things where you're going to look back and wish that it could have built, because she was kind of in the middle of that lineup, and so we drop back and then they have to start building again. Thankfully, we had a couple of athletes that had stellar performances, and the judges loved it and put up the big scores for them.
Yeah, I gotta love those 2 9.9 plus scores for the Utes over there on bars for both Isa and Dula.
Yes, and the 49.25 puts them closer to the scores they're trying to reach for on each event. So hopefully they can keep building.
All right, tonight's meet brought to you by America First Credit Union. America First unbeatable roster of products, tools, and services can help you reach your financial goals faster, so become a member today. America First Credit Union. And thanks also to our meat sponsor, Smith's. Low prices, market fresh. That's Smith's. Ready for rotation number 3. Utah over to beam, where Emily LeBlanc, Alexia Birch, Adrian Randall, Abby Paulson, Crystal Issa, and Miley O'Keefe will go for the Utes. So Missy Reinstadler will not go on beam tonight for the Utes. And over to floor for ASU, Megan Thompson to be followed by Alina Miller, Juliet Boyer, Gracie Reeves, Hannah Scharf, and Jessica Ginn. Good to see ASU just sort of rebound after a rough start on bars. That could be just a thing that derails your night, and they bounce back over on vault. Let's see how they do here in this 3rd rotation.
You know, it's difficult to start out on uneven bars as a road team. You know, you're always on bars when you go on the road, and that's a tough event to begin on because it's very technical and precision. Vaulting, you can kind of let some of your adrenaline go. So it was nice to see them do that in vault, but I'm sure they'd love to have some bars over again.
Yeah, and I think for Utah on bars, having the 2nd and 3rd up women go 9.9 plus just shows that the depth of gymnastics they have on that event. If they have, starting on their second person up, can go a 9.9, I think that shows a lot of promise for where they can go for the rest of the year.
I agree.
Utah's bar score of 49.275, their highest of the season in 3 meets. So again, Utah 98.425 to ASU's 96.525. Over to beam for Emily LeBlanc to start things off for the Utes.
And again, we see Emily take her time, prep mentally before she mounts the beam. Both bars and beam are like that. You need a second to kind of put yourself in the mode, in the zone, and she really does a good job of putting herself there.
Emily, a season high score of 9.8 at the best of Utah meet, had a 9.775 here against Kentucky on January 3rd.
Beautiful leap pass. That switch leap, split quarter was awesome.
It's fun to see Emily really coming into her own with Utah. I know she was looking to be with a more success-oriented program, and she has relished in the pressure and the chance at leading off the team on bars and beam, and look at her go.
Oh my gosh, a beautiful flick lay, beautiful front aerial. She just holds her dance poses and soaks it all in. Like, that's the true definition of a beamer.
Well, and exuding that confidence, and then that can help the team, the girls that are, getting ready to go up. They go, okay, she's got it, I've got it.
She goes for her dismount. 1.5 stuck.
Yes.
Oh, that was great. Those 1.5s can be really difficult to stick since you're coming in that blind landing, and she handled it like a champ.
Right, and that's another, in her first couple of meets, she didn't stick her dismount, and there she did. So she just keeps improving.
So again, her best score this year at 9.8. She's gone as high as 9.9. She did that twice in 2018 and went to regionals that year with a 9.85. So capable of a big score. You love as many 9.9s as you can get. Then she has that potential for the Utes right now in that leadoff position. Over the floor now for ASU. Here's Megan Thompson, first to go for the Sun Devils. Megan, a sophomore from Gilbert, Arizona.
I think this is our first chance to see some of Christina Basquet-Pon's work, because she's done the choreography and I think about 12 floor routines, because they have a lot of young ones. And Christina's, I don't think she does floor completely by herself, but she's very involved in this event for ASU, and we're so proud of her, so proud of our coaches that we have out coaching both in club and college. And Christina's a new assistant coach at Arizona State, just started this year. She's been volunteer for 2 years, and now this season has become an actual assistant coach.
Former Bars champion as a freshman in 2006 was Christina Basquet, 12-time All-American, 5-time NCAA regional champion. We'll talk more about her entertainment career in between performances here, but certainly she's making an impact on this ASU team.
Yes, and I think I called her Christina Basquet-Pon.
Yeah, you did.
One of those.
I'm
Peel,
not very good.
Peel,
A four-letter
Pond, same
Peel
thing.
Pon. I'm not very good with the married names. I know their maiden names very well.
This has been a really nice floor routine. She started off with a big double pike and has just continued to do a nice job for them leading off.
Megan Thompson, a 9.7 last week. She had a 9.825 against Oklahoma earlier on, so capable of a decent score in that leadoff role for ASU. Getting back to Christina Basquet, how about her career in the entertainment business? Went to Las Vegas, worked in several shows, and then became a stunt double. Did a number of TV shows and movies, I believe over 75 credits to her name. And of course, everyone remembers Game of Thrones.
Of course.
On that show from 16 to 19 as a double for Arya Stark. And what a career for Christina Basquet-Peel.
Yes, and then what's exciting for her right now is she's getting ready to begin a family, and has a little one on the way, due in a few months.
Breaking news here from Megan Marston. Thank you for that. Let's enjoy this performance. Alexia Birch, second to go for the Utes on beam.
She just looks so confident out there. That back handspring layout step out is
Just
a really
nailed it.
difficult element, and she makes it look easy. And she pops off the beam. And
Yes, has nice amplitude, and already has done a ring jump, which you have to lay that head back. I know at times she's had a little bit of not confidence on that element, and tonight she just really is coming into her own.
Yep, and she flashes the U at the muss right in front of the beam and goes into her dismount and sticks it.
How about that?
Is a great routine.
Yes, 2 up, 2 down.
And I think those are the only 2 events that she's doing tonight, but
Yep.
I'll tell you what, boy, has she helped her team tonight.
Yeah,
You're
she's
right.
so happy. Her energy is great out there.
So Alexia Birch, a career-high score of 9.9 on beam. That was against Arizona back in 2018. Also against Michigan last year. Her season-high score at 9.75 in both meets so far this year. She'll do better than that tonight. A really nice routine by Alexia Birch as the second up for the Utes. Back over to floor now for Arizona State. Here's Alina Miller. And by the way, the first 2 scores are up. Emily LeBlanc a 9.9 on beam for Utah, and a 9.7 for Megan Thompson on floor to start things for ASU.
I know that Tom felt like Emily might be able to be a leadoff person that could go 9.9, and look at her do it.
Yep. Big double pike on floor.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, she was high. Just took a little step back, but you can take a controlled step back on backward flipping elements like that. It's allowed. You don't get the same stick rules on floor as you do on some of the other events. Front layout, front half. She just didn't have enough pop off the floor.
You know, those middle passes that usually have 2 or 3 elements linked together, it's bounder work, and if you're off on that first element and doesn't have the right rhythm, then it's very difficult to finish the next element well. It's lucky that she didn't hurt herself, because she was kind of mid-twisting. I'm glad to see that wasn't the case.
This event's been a bit of a struggle for ASU so far. They lost 4 kids there from last year. Also, Kyra Leonard Baker not going all around early because of the ankle injury. So it's been a little bit of a challenge to start things on floor for Jay Santos and his crew this year. And he's really trying to help them find that extra tenth of a point. They just haven't done it so far. And as a result, they're scoring down a bit on this event through the first couple of competitions.
Yeah, so this is one of the events that he was saying that they've had to work harder on from that 9.4 start value, and so you have to build that one extra tenth of bonus, and finding that tenth of bonus in their floor routines with their new women this year, he's just said has been a little more difficult than some of the other events.
So Lexia Birch, a 9.875 as the second performer for Utah. Here's Adrian Randall now, third up for the Utes on beam.
You know, Adrian is a natural beamer. It was one of her best events coming out of club gymnastics. And she's got a signature move later in the routine that we want to watch for. But I feel like this event for Adrian is like a walk in the park usually.
Yep, back handspring layout, step out, just right along those lines, a walk in the park.
Had a 9.825 at the Rio Tinto Best of Utah meet 2 weeks ago. Started out a bit rough with the 9.7 here against Kentucky, but has gone as high as 9.9. That score got her third place at Pat 12's a year ago.
Last year, yes, she was definitely an important part of the beam team last season. She did a sheep jump just a moment ago. That's a difficult element. She does it well. And there's her signature element, that full swing down.
Really nice job tonight.
Yes, nice and square. I know she's been having a little trouble with it of late, but that one was done so well. Let's see if she can finish
what's the name of that element again?
Rolfova.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. That's the official name.
They keep me around for a few things, and that's one I can slide in for you.
Oh, just a step on that 1.5 dismount.
Well, I like how she went ahead and did kind of a turn salute and let the judges decide how much of a step.
I feel like beam is one of those events that you can cover a little bit better than some others.
Yes, yes. That was a nice routine, and the big deduction will be the way she did that last part. She was a little cross-legged on the 1.5 twist and then a little step. But the rest of the routine was really clean and has a unique element. You hope that the judges, give some credit for that, because there's, a lot of routines that are kind of all the same, but she's got something in there that few people do.
Yeah, and a lot of difficulty with that Rafolva and the sheep jump.
Yes.
And you don't see a lot of that in college gymnastics.
Well, Adrian Randall's second on beam at the 2018 Junior Olympic National Championships. And Megan, you said last year she's going to be a good one on that event. So far, Adrian very good on beam to start her career. Let's go back over to floor now for the Sun Devils. Here's Juliet Boyer as their third performer.
Front lay, front 1.5. Handled it really well, landed straight up and down. That's one of those 2 flipping passes, and she was right on.
Juliet Boyer going all around tonight. Last week on floor, a 9.775, and the win over UC Davis. Her season best score, a 9.825.
You know, this little gal comes from San Mateo Gymnastics, and from my recruiting experiences, that gym does a really great job with their athletes. They're well coached, good technique with a lot of their skills. And I know that Jay mentioned that she's been a joy to have as an addition to their program.
Yeah, Juliet Boyer tonight through 2 events, a 9.725 on vault, 9.175 on bars. Again, she's going all around tonight for ASU.
Yeah, this has been a really nice routine so far. She did a double pike in her second pass and was big and landed it really well. She sets up for this final pass.
Pretty.
Nice job.
1.5 front layout, done well. You know, she was the one with the pretty toe point on bars.
Yes, she
and
was.
Then she just had a problem with her dismount. But, that's a freshman mistake. And I think that, in time she's going to kind of hone her skills a little bit in the performance situation. And she's going to be a great one for ASU. She's really got pretty lines.
So Emily LeBlanc at 9.9, then a pair of 9.875s by Alexia Birch and Adrian Randall. Here's Paulson, fourth performer for the Utes.
Abby Paulson. So she has actually been an incredible addition to the team in general, but beam especially. She opened up her freshman career with 2 9.9s. So 9-9 at the first meet, 9-9 at the Best of Utah meet, and that's kind of unheard of.
Yes.
And as we talk about that, she's not having her best beam routine here.
Yeah, has not. You're right. Ranked 14th in the country after the first couple of meets. I talked to her practice. She said her dad, a former Olympic wrestler, has helped her early on with kind of visualization, even the night before, and then sort of helping her develop a plan for a pre-meet routine, which she's done very well. That you were very impressed with, Megan. But you're right on. So solid to start tonight.
She didn't come off the beam, but she just had some issues with some connections and a little balance checks, and she won't be pleased with that. I mean, to her credit, she stayed up on that beam.
She did. She landed her series on pretty much 1 foot.
1 foot.
Which is difficult. It's a aerial layout step out.
It shows her natural balance beam work. I mean, she is a veteran on that event, and she'll come back from that. That's all part of the growing pains of a freshman. She doesn't even start competing till halfway through the meet. Sometimes you handle that well, and other times you don't. And there's possibility that she just didn't have her mind in the competitive state in time, or was a little cool and not warmed up enough. You never know.
And I think when you have no expectations your first couple meets, it's nice because you can go out there and just do your thing. And I'm sure she's starting to feel that she's a beamer and they're expecting her to compete a certain way. And
that's a very good
back
point,
in the
Kendall.
lineup.
No question that it's much easier when no one expects anything. And then it gets a little tougher.
All right, Gracie Reeves now on floor for Arizona State as their 4th competitor.
Yeah, nice middle pass.
Her opening pass, she had a little lunge forward, but I don't think she went out of bounds, but it was close.
Gracie Reeves, a 9.75 last week. Her season best score, a 9.775. That was against Oklahoma during week 2.
She's got nice lines, too. She looks like she's probably pretty tall, which always adds a little something extra.
A decent start to her night, a 9.7 on vaults, 9.8 on bars. All-rounder for the Sun Devils had a score of 37.950 against Oklahoma. She was held down by an 8.6 on beam during that meet. Otherwise, a pretty solid performance against the number one ranked Sooners.
I think she has the potential to have pretty big all-around scores because she did a nice job there on floor. And, yes, her first 2 scores tonight were pretty good.
So Reeves again going all around, one of 3 all-arounders for the Sun Devils tonight. Back over to beam for the Utes.
I love Crystal's mount. She starts facing not the beam. Oh, and missed it a little bit there.
Well, she covered it well. I think she could feel she had jumped too big and was over a little bit. But I liked how she pulled her arms off the beam and kind of let her body weight balance. That was a pretty incredible, we call it an in-skill correction, but right in the middle of that flipping onto the beam, she felt what was going wrong and made an adjustment.
One really impressive thing with Crystal, she does a triple series, 2 flipping elements after her back handspring, which is so difficult.
Yeah, flick-flack, layout, and that'll be a signature move for her for beam team for Utah because a layout, not very often are you confident as a beam coach to have that out there when you're competing, but she's proven that she can do it.
It's so fun to watch. It stretches the whole length of the beam, and so watching someone flip across that is great. She just nails her routine after that mount.
Nice. Well, and you know what? It'll be interesting to see if the judges take much. I mean, the problem is it could be considered a little bit of a fall onto the beam, but I felt like she covered it so smoothly that it didn't even really look like she'd made much of a mistake.
Well, and it's a unique mount that's kind of her own thing, so.
Yes. Although there's some of those in the elite gymnastics, they're worth quite a bit, and so they got started there. And Crystal, it just seemed to fit for her to do that. She's really good at it. So, I'm curious. On bars, we watch Miley make a very nice, clean cover, and they hit her a little, but not too bad. And we'll see. It may be the same thing here that, that was a missed 9.9 plus opportunity, and it might be 9.8 something. I don't know. We'll
Crystal,
see.
yeah, right. 14th in the country on beam this year. A 9.925 her best score against Kentucky here during the opener to win that event. Back over to 4 now for ASU. Hannah Scharf as their 5th competitor.
Front through to double back. Really nice controlled landing. Lots of energy in this routine. Yeah, it looks like Crystal's score, they went right in between.
Yeah, but I think that's a good score considering she had a little trouble on that mount. But way to finish the routine like perfectly after that point.
And that will tie for the second highest score for Utah. 9-9 from LeBlanc, a pair of 9.875s by Birch Randall. Now one more from Issa that surrounds the 9.625. The low score right now for the Utes by Abby Paulson was still Miley O'Keefe to go as the anchor performer.
Yeah. Well, there's some pressure on a freshman because you don't want to count that 9.625.
Right.
And let's see how Miley handles this. I'm hopeful that she's not paying a whole lot of attention to all the scores and that she's just going to do her beam routine.
Hannah
I think
Scharf,
that would be best.
Yep, over on floor. A 9.7 last week. Her best scoring 9.825 against Oklahoma. Her scoring tonight 9.8 on vault, 8.375. A rough start for her on bar, so a good bounce back on vault. Good floor routine as well for her third event.
Very nice floor routine. Finished with a double pike to another controlled landing.
That's tough. That's a element a lot of women do in their first pass, and to show it off in the last pass is now an extra 10th bonus, but it's also really difficult and high elevation.
Yes.
Utah a comfortable lead over ASU going to this third rotation. Their score right now on being a 49-1-5, but that counts the score of the 9.625 by Abby Paulson. Here's Miley O'Keefe to wrap things up.
Miley just looks really comfortable up there.
It's fun to watch her. She has such quality of movement. So let's see how she covers this. That was going to be her series, but it was an aerial without really a break, or a very slight one. But she still needs a series, so we'll see what she does. I'm sure
she'll repeat it right here.
I think she can, but she has an aerial dismount too. I don't think she can do 3.
Oh, she's going to do a front aerial.
There we go, front aerial to flick
that in. That was beautiful.
And I'm guessing that she and Carly, the beam coach, have that plan if that happens. And to her credit, she did it well. You know, she didn't really wobble much on the side aerial, and then she threw that in later.
Miley O'Keefe, a 9.85, her season best at the Best of Utah meet 2 weeks ago. Also had a 9.8 against Kentucky, and has a good routine going right here.
Stick.
Yes.
Okay.
Stuck dismount.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what Miley is doing a good job of, and has done it on other nights, not just tonight. She is having to think on her feet in the middle of a routine, and I think she's showing some of her experience, amazing, elite level, world-class experience as she negotiates a couple of things she's got to work through while she's up in the competition. It's really impressive.
Yeah, and she looks unfazed. If you don't know what her routine is, you may not even know that she missed something.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly, and so I'm sitting here
totally.
telling
It's obvious to you, but
but yes, no. As a fan just watching, that looked like, you know, perfection beam routine. It was beautiful. Very little problem.
Miley O'Keefe, the first P&G National All-Around Champion ever to sign with Utah. That was in the junior division. So looking for the score to post from Miley O'Keefe to wrap things up on beam for the Utes. Final competitor over on floor for Arizona State, Jessica Ginn.
That looked like some fun Christina possible choreography.
Little influence.
Nice first pass. And she's got the whole crowd going.
Yes, I think Jay was telling us that this routine has lots of personality.
Had a 9.825 did Jessica Ginn last week. Her season best score, a 9.9 coming against Oklahoma, so a chance for a base score here for the senior from Chandler, Arizona.
Yeah, really nice first 2 passes. She's just a tumbler. She gets a lot of height on her flips. It's nice to watch.
Good looking leaps with good amplitude. You know, and the music is slowed down a little bit, which, I mean, that's a strategic thing. When you're big-time tumbler, sometimes it's nice to take a little break and settle in before you have to do that last big pass. And I'm not sure what her pass is, but if it's another double flip, you want to be rested and ready.
Looks like she does a double pike.
She got it done.
Yes, she did. Maybe a little short.
Yes, a little low on that landing. Yeah. We think alike.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you guys worked together at all? It seems like you maybe have a time or two on some things.
Yes, we have.
So that's the final scoring performance for Arizona State. Jessica Ginn.
I think they had a pretty
floor.
nice floor rotation. That was, I think just one athlete had trouble with 2 falls. So one,
Yep.
you know, but otherwise they really did a decent job.
All right, both teams going with an exhibition performer on these events. Missy Reinstatler on beam for Utah. Then we'll see Maya Williams. At least she's scheduled to go over on floor for ASU. Let's watch Missy Reinstatler here. Former All-American all-arounder for the Utes a couple years ago. Had the foot injury to derail her plans of last year. Mainly had her focus on bars instead, and she's anxious to go all around before this season is done.
That was just a beautiful mount. It's very difficult. We call it a plunge because it takes a lot of strength and you kind of lean your shoulders forward and hold. And she did it beautifully.
Missy Reinstatler, the former NCAA regional champ back in 2018 with a 9.925 score.
Oh, just missed that back handspring layout step out. Looks like she was just off completely.
Yes, I mean, I think Missy, you know, she just doesn't have her confidence there tonight in her competition routines. She's such a beautiful athlete.
Oh my gosh,
and,
yes.
I mean, I have to say I can relate a little bit to this because, you know, there's just some mental work that has to be done to get so that you can put yourself in that state of mind on a regular basis, because the Friday nights come one after another. And I think that, you know, Missy still has to continue to work. She's had injuries, so it's been hard for her to get in a groove with her competitive situation.
A little bit of a hop on the landing.
Yep.
Changed her music to Billy Joel this year, she told me. She's always been the classic vinyl, classic
Yep.
rewind type music mix. She said her dad listened to that stuff growing up, and she liked the state of mind it put her in to listen to that while she was on beam, and decided to go with Billy Joel for this year. So Missy Reinstatler going exhibition on beam for the Utes tonight.
We have a whole arena full of people that are anxious for Missy to have a big night, and so it'll come. It will come.
Final scores up for the Utes over on beam. Miley O'Keefe, a 9.775. That follows up the 9.875 by Crystal Issa. So the Utes on beam tonight, a 49.3. That's their best event score tonight. Their team score now 147.75. And the final score is up on floor for Arizona State. Scharf and Ginn both with 9.85 to wrap things up for the Sun Devils over there.
Nice,
so
yes, those
ASU,
were some good scores.
yeah, their floor score tonight 48.725. So their team score right now 145.250. So the Utes a 2.5 almost advantage in the team scoring as we head to our fourth event. Exhibition performance now by Maya Williams for the Sun Devils on floor. Maya Williams did not compete on floor last week. Her 2 scores so far this year, a 9.575 in the Collegiate Challenge in week 1, then had an 8.950 against Oklahoma. So getting some work in tonight, the junior from Reisterstown, Maryland.
Yeah, her first pass was maybe a little off, but she was able to pull it to her feet. She goes for her double tuck on her second pass. It's a little low and her chest is down, but she was able to stay on her feet, which, you know, if you can take away a fall, that's what you want. Or third pass, excuse me.
So that will do it for our third rotation. Again, the Utes a comfortable lead, 147.725 to Arizona State's 145.250. We'll come back to wrap up the scoring details from our third rotation. Look ahead to our final events of the night coming up in just a moment. This is Red Rocks Gymnastics from Learfield. Arizona State 147.725 to 145.250. Utah scoring a 49.3, their best score on an event tonight over on beam. ASU a 48.725 on floor. Let's run down the individual scores for Utah. We'll save the best for last. Alexia Birch for the Utes on that event at 9.875. Abby Paulson, after 2.99s to begin her Utah career, just a 9.625 tonight. Adrian Randall for the Utes, a 9.875. Miley O'Keefe for the Utes, 9.875 as well. Kim Tesson for Utah on the beam, a 9.9 tonight. And also, Crystal Issa was the next score, a 9.875. And then Miley O'Keefe for the Utes, a 9.775. But the best score tonight, Emily LeBlanc, that 9.9 score. And that 9.9 by LeBlanc. She found the perfect balance for the Utes, brought to you by the David Eccles School of Business. Find your perfect balance at eccles.utah.edu. Your thoughts on our third rotation?
Well, you know what I love, I feel like our beam team, this year has really come into its own, and part of it because there's some freshman additions. But tonight, the two freshmen had a little bit of trouble. I love seeing the fact that the first person up had the leading score. And again, like Kendall mentioned about bars, I mean, the future is bright. When some of these young ones put it all together with the older ones, the ones that have been out there some, it's going to be big time on bars and beam especially. And so I know that Tom will be a little frustrated tonight that the scores didn't just build boom, 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 but there's time for that, and I can see the potential there.
Yeah, 9.9, that ties the career high by Emily LeBlanc, but I'm with you. I saw that 9.9 score. I'm like, okay, here we go. We've got our best performers coming. It's been a good event for us this year, and just didn't quite come together tonight, but Utah still a beam score of 49-3.
I think it's important to remember it is the third meet of the year.
Right.
And so they're all trying to figure it out. Most of them are new to Utah, and I mean, obviously Emily just handled that well, but I think they'll get there.
Yes.
All right, scoring for ASU on floor, Hannah Scarf, a 9.85. Juliet Boyer, 9.825. Gracie Reeves, a 9.5. Jessica Ginn, 9.85. Megan Thompson, a 9.7. And Alina Miller, an 8.050. They dropped that score. ASU scoring 48.725 on floor. And that's their second highest score tonight. They went 48.75 on vault, 47.75 on bars. Great crowd on hand.
If ASU can continue to have a good finish here on balance beam, then I mean that's a nice comeback after a rough first event.
Especially for so many freshmen and newcomers and
Right,
inexperience.
they were filling a lot of holes with new people.
Absolutely. We are just moving through warm-ups here.
Just been told we've had an inquiry on floor for ASU, so they're awaiting some details on the scoring, so we'll have to check that in a few moments.
Okay.
Right. But let's get ready for our fourth event, Utah to floor, ASU over to the beam. The line for Utah on floor, Crystal Issa, Abby Paulson, Adrian Randall, Miley O'Keefe, Kim Tesson, Sydney Solowski. For the Devils over on beam, Megan Thompson, Juliet Boyer, Isabel Redmond, Gracie Reeves, Morgan Wilson, and Hannah Scarf. Here's Thompson to start things for the Sun Devils.
Beam can be a really tough place to end a meet. You do it at every away competition when it's a dual meet, but it never quite gets easier.
Hannah Scarf, a season-high score of 9.825 last week against UC Davis. Her first two scores, just 9.225 and 8.8, so inconsistent so far for Scarf, the freshman all-arounder tonight through 3 events, a 9.8 on vault, 9.85 on floor, but that rough bar score, 8.375, derailing her all-around night. Let's see how she finishes things up here on beam.
Opening up very nice. She had a triple series, the first girl up for ASU doing a difficult series, and she did keep it on the beam. It was kind of riding along the side of the beam. You could see her feet gripping on one side, but she didn't have a break.
Yeah, really smooth beam routine so far.
I think they'll be pleased with this as their first person up, doing
Aerial
so well.
Full, stuck. Nice dismount.
So Megan Thompson, first up for ASU, had a 9.7 on floor tonight. So that's her second and final event. Back over to floor now for the Utes, Crystal Issa, right to lead things off.
Oh, and she's just exuding happiness. I can see that big smile on her face, pumping the crowd up.
Crystal Issa, a career high score of 9.875 at the Best of Utah meet last week. Also had a 9.725 here in week 1 against Kentucky.
She's just really come into her own in the last meet or two, and it's fun to be able to see her out there this year. Crystal does a big double tuck, no problem, really nice.
You know, I think that she may in her career begin to work towards a big E pass, but for right now I know Tom has some of our floor girls doing double tuck opening and double pike at the end, and I feel like as long as they're doing them the way she performed it, where they're dropping out of the sky, that they'll still score really well, and let her work on that E pass for later in her career. But this year she needs to build confidence now that she's back out there.
Yeah, and she seems to really be doing that. That second pass was beautiful. She has such tight form in the air. Her legs never separate. And she's so fun to watch.
Yeah, this is where she can really show off her personality. Here comes the third pass.
Takes a breath. Big double pike. Oh, it was great.
And opens up to a stuck landing.
Really nice. She's just had a great meet.
And finishes with a U flashing.
You can hear that crowd.
They love that. Crystal
Great
Issa.
first routine for Utah on floor.
Crystal Issa tonight for the Utes, a 9.925 arm bars, 9.875 arm beam. So 2 excellent first events for Issa, especially over arm bars as her second event.
Yeah.
Loved her performance right there.
I'm seeing that Arizona State opened up with a 9.825 on beams. So
awesome.
They also have opened up with a big score that can build from there if athletes do their job.
Yeah, Megan Thompson, a career high score on that event for the sophomore from Gilbert, Arizona. Back over to beam now for ASU, and Juliet Boyer second to go.
She looks really calm. It's interesting, everybody has their own style. You see some gymnasts who get up on beam and want to move quickly through all of their elements, and that's part of their pattern and routine, and some of them move a little bit more methodically, and she was able to save that back handspring layout.
Yeah, with the leg kick in the air, that'll get maybe be a couple of tenth deduction. But at least she stayed up there. You know, one thing as a coach, you teach athletes, you know, if you fall off, it's 5/10 no matter what. The judges can't really, you know, kind of fudge that. But if you wobble and you stay up there, then you make the judge decide, was that 2/10, 3/10? But rarely is it more than that. When you go down to the floor, it's 5.
Yep. And
that
if you
makes
get
a
one
big
that does,
difference.
if you give one that does 3 and 2, then you can average that out too.
Right. Ooh, I like the nice switch leap. That's difficult to put back-to-back switch leaps. She did that well.
It's a long routine. She takes her time up there.
Juliet Boyer yet to find 9.8 on beam so far this year. Had a 9.75 against Oklahoma. 9.775 a season high last week.
Nice dismount.
Well, I think with that large break, she won't be there this week, but that routine has the potential to score high. It's a very attractive routine, clean, pretty lines.
And Jay Santos told us she doesn't realize how good she is. She just needs more experience, takes direction very well, loves her lines, and said she is just a pretty gymnast with a bright future. And from what we saw right there, I think he's right. All right, so Crystal Issa, 9.9 to start things for the Utes on floor.
That's the way to open up. Let's see if they can capitalize on it on this event.
All right, Abby Paulson had a 9.8 last week, a 9.825 against Kentucky on floor. Let's see if she can bounce back from a little bit of an off night on beam.
I think this is an important time for a freshman. You maybe don't have the best routine, and being able to turn around pretty quickly after and
have your head back in it, yes.
Nice double pike, huge.
Good height, yep.
She looks like she's moved on.
You know, Abby has this, you know, national team experience, and I feel like at times I'm really seeing it show up. As a young one, she's got such poise.
She told me this week, the bigger the crowd, the better. And she really thrives in these big arenas and uses it to her advantage.
You can tell in her presentation, too. She plays to the crowd. She looks up at them, and seems like she enjoys it.
I agree.
Have a great program, the Twin City Twisters. Brianna Hughes, also a product of the Twin Cities a few years ago, and Tom Farnan just telling us how great that program is. Twin City Twisters, National Program of the Year, and Abby is one of their best.
She is, and her second pass was beautiful too. So this is setting up to be another great routine for Utah.
Yeah, Twin City Twisters does a really great job with their athletes, and we've been very excited to have them join our program. They transition well.
A great routine for Abby.
Abby Paulson, a member of the 2017 USA Senior National Team, and Tom Farnan says she will just flat out outwork people. She's done that and doing the same thing early in her career as a Ute.
You know, she can be really proud of the fact that after that beam routine that she wasn't happy with, and knowing Abby, she just got mad. She said, okay, I'm going to take it out on a great floor routine.
And she sure did.
You can see the determination on her face. I just looked at her monitor here, and she was focused and locked in and got the job done as the second performer for the Utes. So Adrian Randall up next. The score for Juliet Boyer, a 9.650 as the second performer on beam for ASU. Back over there now for Isabel Redmond. A little Post Malone music here, Utah native
That
in
was
the background.
a nice back handspring layout, done really clean and stuck the landing.
Nice full turn. It's a simple element, but can always throw you in the middle of a meet.
It can.
Isabel Redmond, a freshman from Shelby Township, Michigan, had a 9.75 on beam last week. That was her first effort on beam this season.
That was a nice switch leap ring, which difficult. First of all, switch leap is kind of difficult on beam. And then when you lay your head back to get the toe and head near each other, it's a risky element, and she just did it like it was easy.
Yeah, especially because with the switch leap part of it, you're jumping pretty high off the beam. You get a lot of movement. It's not just like a standing jump, and she did it really well. Had a little wobble on a sheep jump, which is similar. It's 2 feet back.
Head back, yeah.
But you lay your head back.
Blind.
Gainer pike, and had a nice routine.
Nice finish, yes. That was good.
Only scoring performance by Redmond tonight. She went exhibition earlier on this evening. So Isabel Redmond for ASU, their third performer on beam tonight. Still Reeves, Wilson, and Sharp to go to wrap things up. Abby Paulson follows up Issa's 9.9 with a 9.9 of her own.
Back-to-back 9.9s. That's beautiful.
For Abby Paulson, that's a career high score through 3 meets. And now third up for Utah out of Corona, California, Adrian Randall.
Yeah, going back to Abby, that's 3 9.9s for her in her Utah first 3 meets.
2 on beam and 1 on floor. Good
Not a
for
shabby
her.
start.
There, you know, there's a possibility that Adrian's going to open full in, but I'm not sure. I know in our talking with Tom, she has the potential to have an E opening pass, but it may not be quite ready. We'll just see.
Adrian's so fun to watch. She has such dynamic dance. Double back.
Okay.
Really nicely
well
done. Yeah. Dropped out of the air like you were saying earlier.
Chest up on the landing.
Adrian Randall, a score of 9.875 at the Best of Utah meet 2 weeks ago. That was her best so far this year. Also went 9.85 against Kentucky. She was pretty consistent last year. Her best score, a 9.95 against Arizona.
Yeah, that E pass really helps with getting big scores.
But she did it a few times last year.
And she's coming back from that wrist injury, and they're taking things a little slower. Nice double pike.
Adrian Randall's first event tonight on beam, a 9.875.
She has such a fun floor routine.
I love the music. It's dynamic.
Nice last pass. Good routine.
Adrian Randall scored a 9.85 Pac-12s last year, but did not get above a 9.775 at regionals or nationals. Perhaps her upgrades will help her get bigger scores late in the year this coming year.
Yes, well, Utah's on a roll right now with floor routines. They just seem to be building one after another. She may get a little deduction for that low front layout. After the 1.5, you're supposed to pop that front layout up, and hers went down a little bit. So I don't know if she's going to be able to pull a 9.9, but we'll see.
Isabel Redmond for ASU, a 9.75 as her third performer. That's their second highest score. And Gracie Reeves now performing for the Sun Devils.
And she has a triple series too. She does back handspring, layout, step out, a little bent knees, so that'll be a slight deduction, but the landing was great.
Gracie Reeves going all around for the Sun Devils tonight. Had a 9.7 on vault, 9.8 on bars, and a 9.65 on floor. That's a decent night going up to this point.
Yeah, and I think ASU is doing a nice job on beam. Beam can be, as I was saying earlier, a tough spot to end, and they seem to be handling it really well.
Yes, I don't feel like they're showing a lot of nerves. That was an unusual element.
I was not expecting that.
Well, I know, and I was wondering if we should know about that so we could be prepared. But that was, what do you call that?
She did a front aerial and then jumped back to like her neck area.
And it's kind of an old-fashioned move, but something basket. I can't remember what it's called, but that was really neat on beam.
Yeah, it was really cool.
She did it well.
And it's fun to see unique things in beam. So a lot of times you see similar
I think
elements.
That was her series. Because she went forward and then a flight element back. It was flight.
Yeah, it was.
So I think that was her series. Well, she did a triple series too. Yeah. That was a front skill to an acro element. So that
still could have.
She got some credit though. I'm not sure what that is worth because I don't know it very well.
Which is cool. It's nice to see
nice
people
to
doing
see some unusual elements.
Yeah. All right, Adrian Randall for the Utes, a 9.875 to follow up the back-to-back 9.9s by Issa and Paulson. Here's Miley O'Keefe, fourth up for the Utes on floor.
Yeah, and you're allowed to take a step back and on floor
to a lunge.
To a lunge, but she stuck that double pike.
She did. She didn't move her feet. It was beautiful.
Front layout, front full, really nice.
Had a 9.85 at the Best of Utah meet 2 weeks ago. That was her debut on floor this season.
We have such good dancers this year. Really nice job with their choreography.
They're really attractive with their dancing, yes. And I think leaps have improved too. I feel like we've got a lot of nice leaping going on.
Right, I think sometimes that gets missed whenever we're looking at just tumbling passes, but those are big places you can get deductions, and if you don't make them all the way around.
The judges don't miss those.
No, they don't. The crowd might miss that.
If you don't do them well, they'll deduct.
Yeah, they'll nail you.
Well, Courtney McCool-Griffith now coaching floor for the Utes. Former floor champion in 2008 with Georgia, first team All-American, 2008 through 10, and she is actively involved in coaching this team on floor this year.
She is, and I think she's doing a really great job.
The athletes told me this week details are so big with her. That's how she was as a performer. She's carried that over to coaching, and we've seen that during even warm-ups this year as we were sitting beside the mat, just the work she puts in to get the performers ready to go.
With the choreography, I know that she and Carly shared that, and that Carly made up a few routines that she felt like the style lent itself to her, and Courtney did some others. But in terms of the day-to-day training, Courtney is with the girls every day on floor, and that's a huge advantage to have a choreographer there dealing with the details every day throughout a season. And I can see the team benefiting from that tremendously.
Yeah, you can see it, and their movements are all sharp and on time. And
I'm noticing just from 1 week to the next. I can see, so that means that during the week in practice, Courtney has dealt with details, and I see the change.
All right, Gracie Reeves, a 9.775 is the previous performer for ASU. That's her second best score on beam tonight. Here's Morgan Wilson, second to last for ASU.
Yeah, and she brings a lot of experience, and you can see that right now. It's been a really nice beam routine. She's calm, taking it in before she goes.
Morgan Wilson, a career best score for the redshirt senior last week against UC Davis, a 9.875 on beam. Won on beam all but one meet last year with a 9.8 score or better 5 times.
Really nice routine for them.
Yes. She looked calm and confident up there.
So the Sun Devils just one score above a 9.8 on beam so far tonight. We'll see how Wilson's effort scores. Still one more to go as one of their all-arounders, Hannah Scarf, will go for ASU. Checking 2 all-around scores for the Sun Devils already in the books. Juliet Boyer, a 38.375 as Boyer got a 9.825 on floor, 9.65 on beam. And also Gracie Reeves, a 38.925. That's the best all-around score posted thus far. Reeves with a 9.775 on beam to wrap up her night. Back over to floor now for the Utes. Here's Kim Tesson as their number 5 performer.
It's been so fun to watch Kim this year. She's just really come out of her shell and really hit her stride.
And I know she said that what's helped is that she's been healthier and had time to prepare this year without having to, wait for her body to cooperate. So nice front double twist. That's an E element, and it's not as high flying as the double flipping moves, but it is an E. It's one of the most difficult elements that you can do.
Yeah, and it's really hard, I think, on those front twisting movements to come down square and not continue to twist, and she does a really nice job of that.
Yeah, Kim's always been a really good front twister.
Kim Tesson ranked 15th in the country on floor this year through the first 3 weeks. Had a 9.9 score in the first 2 competitions of the season. Tied for first against Kentucky. Won this event at the Rio Tinto Best of Utah meet.
Yes, and we've been talking about some of the private gym clubs that athletes have come from, and Kim came to us from All-American Gymnastics, and that's where McKenna Merrill came from, and they also do a great job with their athletes and preparing them for college gymnastics, and well coached. Kim's front double twist was taught to her at All-American Gymnastics.
Oh, no.
That's too bad.
She fell on her front full. She was a little off on the 1.5. Was that what it was before?
Yes.
And then went to her knees and just finished there since her music was ending.
That's too bad. Had a really nice night going. Yeah, had a...
A lot of the athletes do the back 1.5 and then they do a front layout. And Kim has upgraded and added that front full, but that is one of the risks, is that if it's off a little bit, that bounder element, it's harder to save that front full than it would be a front layout. That's too bad.
Yep, so Kim Tesson, a 9.925 on vault, 9.825 on bars. Would have had a nice score on floor right until the end there where she lost it. Unfortunate for her. Sydney Silasky yet to go for Utah to wrap up things on floor. Back over to beam now. And their final performer tonight, the all-arounder, Hannah Scarf.
Really nice back handspring layout. She had a lot of amplitude on that, which on beam can be scary, so it's nice when you see the gymnasts
work way up above the beam. Yeah.
A side semi with a bit of a wobble. Her chest was down on her landing.
As I mentioned earlier, she's been inconsistent on this event this year. Had a 9.825 against UC Davis, and they're looking for another 9.8 score. Would be their second one tonight for the Sun Devils on this event. We'll see how she finishes things up.
Yeah, her leap pass was good.
Yeah, I think it's going to kind of depend. Can she stick a dismount, and then how much will they deduct for that little forward bend on the side semi? Yeah, I think the 9.8 something may be tough. We'll see.
Yep.
1.5 dismount, step forward on the landing.
So that's the final competition performance for ASU. Jasmine Gutierrez is scheduled to go exhibition arm beam. Back over the floor for the Utes, and Sydney Silasky from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, ready to wrap things up for the Utes.
And what Sydney does is gets the crowd excited. She opens up with this big double layout and has a really bubbly, fun floor routine.
Kim Tesson score 9.025. That's the lowest for the Utes tonight, so Silasky ready to wrap things up. Utah already 2 9.9s and a pair of 9.875s on the scoreboard.
And I think Sydney had a great floor routine 2 weeks ago now, but I think she's looking for maybe a little comeback tonight. Big double A, awesome.
Oh, beautiful.
She stepped
Yeah,
out.
She went out.
That'll
hurt.
Yeah, it was a big double A out, but she just got a little out of control
Her
on the
heel
landing.
just went a little over the line.
Which is an
Nice
automatic
leaps.
1/10 off the top.
And when you're trying to get 9/9s, 1/10 is a lot. So
Unfortunate for Sydney.
hopefully she can finish with everything else really clean, and it'll still be a decent score, and certainly will, allow the low score by Kim to be thrown out.
Sydney Solowski won this event against Kentucky with a 9-9. That's her season highest score. Went 9-8-2-5 in the last meet at the Rio Tinto Best of Utah competition.
Yeah, and Sydney's so fun to watch with her dance. She has such a flexible back, and she shows that off. And with this little back arch,
Right there.
I called that the Gail Mackey move because she did that back in the day.
Yes.
Fellow Canadian.
They remind me of each other a little bit just in the way they do their gymnastics.
1.5 front lay, really
Oh,
nice.
Nice finish.
Yep. She knew she needed to continue and work hard through that floor routine, and
Good
she did
for
a
her.
nice
So
job.
really just that step out of bounds, and it wasn't like she stumbled out
No.
of bounds. She just barely let her heel go over the line. So it still could be a decent score.
And that's a risk you take when you do bigger tumbling passes. Usually you need a little more speed going into those so they take up more of the floor mat, and part of that can be going out of bounds.
Yes, I mean that's just sometimes you just don't quite estimate that correctly, and it's such a fine line.
All right, so Sydney Solowski wrapped things up for our scoring competition. One more performance over on beam for ASU. Jasmine Gutierrez, exhibition performer tonight.
Oh, full twisting swing down, another one.
Right, and I think Jay was telling us that if she went on beam that was an unusual, because she did the front handspring into it, so she does it in combination. When Adrian does it, she stands there and does it alone. So that was a nice combination and a very difficult element to put in combination.
Gutierrez scoring as high as 9.85 on this event during her career, went 9.625 against Oklahoma for her best score this season.
Nice routine so far. Switch side, stuck.
This definitely looks like a routine that they may be considering to get back in the lineup. It's hard to know for sure why she's in exhibition at this point, but with that information on her stats, she's definitely a great beamer for them.
Yeah, Jay did mention a couple veterans kind of slow coming along with just some nagging things early in the season, and Gutierrez might be in that group he was referring to. And again, capable of a good score. We saw a nice routine right there, and that will do it for our competition tonight. So let's check the scoring. Still waiting, I believe, the score to post for Solowski over on floor for Utah. Right now the team scores at the moment 196-325 for Utah, 194-2 for Arizona State.
I think that number for Utah is going to change
It will.
significantly
Yep.
because of the 9-1 that's counted right now. We just have to wait to see what the judges came up with for.
Yeah, Utah's lowest score on floor, a 9.050 by Kim Tesson.
Oh, right,
so
right.
hoping that score by Solowski, which it should be, would be higher.
Yeah, I think
than
the
that.
numbers I saw, like the preliminary numbers, were much higher than that.
And they just changed the team scoring. Utah now 197
There we go.
for the second straight meet. 197.
So they made improvement. Probably
Yep.
not as
Yep.
much as they would have liked, but they were able to hit that 197 mark again.
And I
So-
think it was a little bit of an up and down night for them, and if they can pull the 197 out on
a night like this,
Yeah.
then the future's bright. And we said that definitely for, floor and or beam and bars. I felt like, they left some tenths on the table by having somebody in the lineup, falter middle way. And on floor, same thing. They ended up with Kim going down, and that makes it tough to build.
Yeah, if your last two people up have deductions that, like Sydney with the step out, still big routine, but
Yes.
that 1/10 off.
And it looks like Alexia Birch was the most valuable player tonight, which, I mean, that's exciting to see. A lot of times it goes to someone doing more events than she did, and it's been a long time coming for her to do in a meet what she does in practice all the time. So good for her for kind of overcoming some of those weaknesses.
She really did a phenomenal job tonight.
On her 2 events, she did as good as she can do it.
Absolutely. Yep. 9.95 for Alexia on vault, a 9.875 on beam. Let's go back to 4. The score for Sydney Slosky, a 9.775. That allowed Utah to drop the 9.050 by Kim Tessin. So Utah's final team score tonight, 197.050. They scored 49.325 on 4. That's their best event score tonight. Arizona State 194.2. They scored 48.8 on balance beams. Let's run down all the scores for the Utes over on floor tonight against Sydney Slosky, 9.775. Miley O'Keefe, 9.875. Kim Tessin, the low score, 9.050. Crystal Issa, a 9.9. Also a 9.9 for Abby Paulson and Adrian Randall, a 9.875. So those 2 9.9s by Crystal Issa and Abby Paulson, they brought the fans to their feet. And from the gym floor to the training floor, stick your landing at the David Eccles School of Business. Visit eccles.utah.edu. They're ready to light the U here at the Hussman Center as Utah wins the Pac-12 opener, taking down ASU 197.050 to 194.2. We'll come back to run down the final event scoring, and we'll have more for you in just a moment. This is Red Rocks Gymnastics from Learfield IMG College.